today we're going to work on some layers and we're going to create a landscape setting. Now this landscape setting could be something that is like a forest, it could be mountains, it could be the ocean, it could be the beach, however you want to make it happen. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to go to this top right hand corner again, and we are going to get to our layers. So I want at least 5 layers for this assignment today. So I'm going to create one layer and I'm going to call this layer my sky. And then I'm going to create a layer and I'm going to call this one grass, and then I'm going to make another layer and I'm going to call this layer the sun, and then I'm going to do a layer of clouds, and then I'm going to do a layer of flowers. So I got at least 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 layers. Okay, so the first thing I'm gonna do, I'm gonna have my sky layer, and here's why I want my sky layer to be at the very bottom. I'm going to go up here to my brush, and when I go to my brush, instead of going to the paint bucket, I am going to go to this gradient tool. And now I'm gonna find a blue that I like for my sky. So maybe this one right here. And the cool thing I can do is I can click this gradient tool and I can just kind of drag it. And what's gonna end up happening is I'll get that blue to white kind of going. So I'm gonna go blue, and it's gonna just go from a dark blue in the bottom right hand corner to a light blue, or even kind of a white in the top left hand corner. Now, that's my sky. So I'm gonna go back to my layers and I'm gonna go to my grass layer now. And when I go back to my grass layer, I'm gonna go back up to the brush. And I like to do it so that the outline of whatever I'm drawing has a black outline, and then I do the colors from there. So I want to make sure I'm on my grass layer, which I am. And now I'm just going to kind of draw what the grass is going to be. Okay, there's my grass right there. It's the horizon line, the hilly horizon line, if you will. And I'm going to go to my paint bucket and I'm going to pick the green that I like. So let's do this green right here. Boom. So I got my green right there. Now, if we go back to layers, remember you'll see that I can click off the grass layer and that sky is beneath it, but since the grass is above the sky layer, that I can see that sky. Next thing I want to do, I want to create the sun. So I'm going to go back up to this paint bucket, and now I'm going to go down to my shapes. And you'll see that I have all different kinds of shapes I can do, right? I can do my green outline rectangle. I can do my rectangle that is filled in green. I can do my outlined green rectangle. I can do my outline green circle. I can do my green circle that's filled in. I can even do green lines. I'm gonna go to the outline and I'll make that outline black, and I'm just gonna draw a nice little circle right there. But before I do that, I gotta make sure I'm on my sun layer. So I'm gonna go to my sun layer. Now I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna draw my circle. Cool. Got my circle. I'm gonna go to my paint bucket. I'm gonna find a cool yellow and I'm gonna color it in. Now I'm gonna go back to my paint brush and I'm gonna keep the same yellow, and I'm gonna draw this sun that I've been drawing for so much of my life, which is a circle and then yellow lines emanating, radiating from that sun. Because I don't know about you guys, but when I look up at the sun, it looks like this. Whoops, made a mistake. Remember Command Z, and I can undo that mistake. Boom. Now, I want to make this look even cooler, so I'm going to do some orange lines in between those. You may be thinking to yourself, Mr. Dix, you don't seem to be very great at drawing. And my response would be, that I'm not a great visual artist. And the other response for that is that I am a left-handed person and the mouse is on the right-hand side. And I cannot operate a mouse with my left hand because I've never really done it my entire life. But I also can't draw with my right hand. So you kind of get something that looks not the best. But that's the cool thing about Kleki paint, is that we can even do not the best art and still make it look cool. So now, here's what I want to do. I want to get some red rays coming off of that. So I'm going to go and make another layer, and I'm going to call it red sun. And I'm going to drag the red sun under the sun layer. So now the cool thing I can do with this is I pick my red, and watch, as I draw it, it's going behind all those other layers. to in behind the yellow and the orange, and it makes this like really cool depth, or at least perception of depth, to my photo. Yeah, look at that. Oh, those last two did not work out well for me. Oh, that was like right over top the orange. There we go. That's cool. So I'm gonna go back from that. Let's make another layer here on top of the sun, and I'm gonna call this sunglasses, because what kind of sun doesn't have sunglasses? You know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna get back to this black area, and I'm gonna make sure I got a nice little small cursor right there, my brush size, and let's go ahead and put some sunglasses on this guy. And let's give him a smile. Oh, I love that. Maybe a little dot for a nose. There we go. We'll color those sunglasses in. Oh, remember, when I zoom in, I totally forgot about this. When I zoom in, those sunglasses, that black isn't going all the way to the edge. You can see that as I press that plus button. It even happened on the sun. I want to make sure that it's going all the way to the edge, so I messed up on that. I'm gonna zoom all the way back out, move this back here, and now I want to make sure that my grow is going to like a 2. You could go 1 would work, 3 maybe a little more intense. But I'm gonna go 2, and now that that black paint that I just put in goes all the way to the edge. Cool, I like that. That looks great. Next thing I'm gonna do, go to my layers. Let's add some clouds. I'm gonna change the style of my brush. So I'm gonna go down here from this like solid brush, and I'm gonna go to this like airbrush right here. So I think clouds aren't really that solid. So I'm gonna go to this airbrush. And then I also wanna make my brush size a lot bigger. And so I'm gonna go and just kind of fill this in. I'm not gonna use the paint can to fill this in because I kind of want that like brushy texture for it, and the paint can is just gonna fill it in and make it solid white, and I want it kind of like an airbrushed white on there. So I'm gonna change it for the texture. I could even, if I wanted to, change the opacity on this so that I can have like some of that blue still show through, and that makes it look really cloudy. I kind of like that. So we're gonna color this in. I want the edges to be blended pretty nicely. Perfect. All right. Cool thing I could do right here. If I go back to this clouds layer, say I made one really perfect cloud and I don't want to continue to make clouds, I can click on this cloud layer, and then I can go up, instead of the plus function, I can go where there's a plus inside of a rectangle, and I can duplicate that cloud layer. Now I can go to my edit and my transform, and I can move this other cloud, and I can just put it back over. I could also go to this transform, and maybe I want to like kind of shrink this cloud. Maybe I want to tilt it a little bit so it doesn't look like it's the exact same cloud as before. Awesome. So I got my clouds, got my sun. You'll notice that the cloud is covering the sun because the cloud layer is above the sun. If I wanted to, I could change cloud copy to cloud over sun. That would totally make sense. Now I'm gonna do some flowers. When I go to do my flowers, I'm gonna go back to the shapes function. I'm gonna find a green, and I want the green to be different than the grass green, maybe a little bit lighter so that it stands out. And I'm gonna go to my line. So I'm gonna take this line, and I'm just gonna make 3 flowers. Okay, maybe I want that line to be a little thicker. I can go to my line width. Yeah, there we go. Now I'm gonna go to the circle, and let's get that clear circle once again. Let's make a black outline. And we're gonna color that in, make that color a little gold. So I'm gonna get my paint bucket. Ooh, that's out on black. We want it up on gold. We're gonna color that in. Notice that green's still showing up in there, and so I wanna go in and maybe change the size of this, change the opacity and get it to that 100%. Now I can zoom in with my hand, move it around, get back on here, and I can just color right over top that little yellow part. Color right over top that green part. Move this over, let's zoom back in, and I'm gonna color right over top that green part again. Awesome. So I'm gonna zoom out, move my hand, get my hand so I can move it back to where I want it to go. Now here's the other thing I would want to do. I'm gonna make another layer and I'm gonna call it flower petals, but I'm gonna put it underneath the flowers. And here's why. When I go, I'm gonna make this like a purple outline, and I have my brush, and now I'm gonna just kind of draw these petals. I'm gonna do that again. I don't want the petals to go over the green. All right, now I'm going to color those in. Cool. And for this other flower, I'm going to get this brush again, and let's make something that's like red. That'd be cool. Kind of a reddish pink, if you will. Ooh, that last one was not good. Once again, remember, I'm not the greatest visual artist, but I do have fun with it. So there's that flower. Say I want to do the same color flower again, this purple one. I want to get that one over here. Like I want to make this purple one right here, but I don't remember what purple I used. Remember, I can click on this color dropper and just click right there, and it will give me exactly what that color is. So I can go back over here and make this. Ooh, this flower's struggling a little bit. Color those in, looking cool. And let's see, I think I am going to want to make little faces on the flowers as well. Make some little eyeballs. Oh. So I'm gonna make flowers, I'm gonna make a new layer. We're gonna go flower faces. And since they're above, since they're above, I'm gonna be able to put them on top of the flower. I'm gonna go back and change my brush again to go back to this one right here, the more solid one. That smile's too big. Let's make that my brush size a little smaller. There we go. Do it right there. Oof, this flower's not having a good day. All right, so that's essentially my photo right there. So I want you guys to play around with some landscapes today. You'll notice I asked for at least 5 layers. I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 layers. I could even have like maybe some birds in the background if I wanted to, and say I want those birds really far in the background. So I'm gonna make another layer that's like way down here, and we're just gonna do birds. So I'm gonna just kind of draw some little birds, little birdies in the far back. We can see they're all flying. You can even go like this, so you see that they're behind. You'll also notice that if I turn, or if I were to move this flower petals above my flower faces, you'll see that I went over the black lines, but because that layer is underneath, it doesn't matter. And that's why you're gonna really wanna use layers to your advantage. So I'm gonna move that back down underneath the flowers. Look at how cool that looks. When I'm done, all I have to do is I can either go and just click download and it'll download my photo, or the really awesome thing is if I go to file, say I'm not done, like I still want to keep working, if I change this as a PSD, I can go file and then I can come here to a PSD and it will actually save my work, and you'll see that it saves it as a PSD. So now if I like started something brand new, the next time I come into class and I want to import something, I can import and I can go to my downloads and I can click on this PSD that I was working on, and then I'm going to import it as an image, and lo and behold, all of my layers come right back. So that's what you're going to end up doing today. You're going to play around with this. If you finish something and you want to turn it in and you want to submit it to the same Google Classroom you did before, you're more than welcome to. If you have not submitted anything for a grade yet, you could easily submit this assignment as part of your grade. We're going to continue to work on something else a little bit different next time, but that's what I want. Play around with the layers, make some cool stuff.